Hey everybody, before we get into the video, I just got a couple quick points I need to make about the game of Viae. There's two things I made minor mistakes on, and there's three things I just want to clarify. Now, I want to just say that I think this is one of those moments where my brain was abducted by aliens, because the rules are actually pretty darn clear, but for some reason, I've been putting a lot of videos lately, and I completely, in my brain, confused two rules. Now, they're very minor things, but again, it's very important for the tutorial video because I have it wrong, and unfortunately, I do it wrong during the playthrough video. Again, these are very minor things. They're not going to affect my opinion or my review of the game, but they're definitely rules clarifications that you need to know, because I strive for a whole bunch of accuracy with my videos here. So the first thing I got wrong completely in the tutorial video is that the game does actually end at the end of the 12th round. If you play the game through 12 entire rounds, at the end of the 12th round, if you still don't have a victor or an end game condition by completing 3 of the mandates, the game is going to come to an end at the end of 12 rounds, and you're still going to add up the victory points, and as usual, whoever has the most amount of victory points is going to be the grand winner of the game. The next thing I made a mistake on is when you're building roads, you don't spend any of your dinar to do it. Building roads uses stone, hiring more units uses dinar, and then building your basilica is a combination of dinar and stone. So that's a little bit of a mistake I make, and unfortunately I kept doing it during the playthrough. And again, I'm insisting this is one of those moments where my brain was completely abducted by aliens, and that's my story, and I'm 100% sticking to it. But just to clarify, in the rules, building roads uses units or your legio. You have to pay because they're your workers, plus you have to do stone for roads. When it comes to hiring units, you have to use legio to hire more units. That goes for your officers and also for your legio. So again, money for units, stone for roads, dinar and stone to get those basilica. Now, the next thing I just want to actually clarify, and I kind of alluded to it, but I don't think I explained it very, very well. It's whenever you're sailing from ports, you do have to pay somebody. You're either paying the bank or you're paying a player. Well, when you're sailing or arriving at your own ports, obviously you're not going to pay any player but yourself. So I kind of glossed over it, but anytime you use one of your own ports, you're either paying yourself or you're not doing anything because it's your own port. So you don't pay to leave your own ports. You don't pay to arrive in your own ports, but when you arrive in another player's port, or if it's an uncontrolled port, you do have to pay either the other player who controls it, or you pay your money directly to the bank. So those are just three things, or two things I made a mistake on, and one thing I want to clarify. And now there's just a couple other things that I just also want to be a little more specific on with the rules, because they are very important to understand the rules of the game. The first thing is that anytime you use an officer's ability, there is a thing allowed in the rules that whenever you use an officer's ability, if you hire another officer and get rid of an officer you've already used, you are more than welcome to reset the officer pawn. So in effect, you can actually, if you use an officer, burn their ability, you can then replace that same officer by buying another officer and then use that new officer's ability. That officer pawn that represents the use of the ability goes specifically to the officer. So when he goes away, that officer pawn does reset. Now, further along with officers, another nice thing about the officers, again, I didn't explain this perfectly, using the powers of the officers does not use up any of your actions. So, and again, in a 2-player game, you only get so many actions. 3 to 4-player game, you only get so many actions. And in a 5-player game, you only get so many actions. Using the powers of your officers does not use up any of those actions for your turn. And additionally, at the end of your turn, when you're doing your cleanup, you have to do your cleanup by paying for your units in the order that's very specific. You have to pay for your legio first, your first officer second, and then your second officer third. So if you ever look at the little legio pawns that come with the game, the actual legio pawns only have one little ridge on them. Your first officer uses the 2 ridge little legio pawn on to signify that costs you 2 for your upkeep fees, or your upkeep phase, and then your final little legio pawn has 3 little ridges on it, and that goes for your second officer to signify that you have to pay 3 dinar to pay for that. So you have to pay for these in order. You can't do it in any specific or random order that you want that's most beneficial to you. For example, if you value your officers more than your legio, you can't lose all your legio and just keep your officers. You have to pay for them in the order specifically of legio, first officer, and second officer. It's mandatory that actually pay for your units in that very, very specific order. I'd like to finish this correction off with some really good news, though. There is a 20% discount you can get off on Viae right now if you go directly to the website. Now, I'm going to put a link down in the show notes below. That's going to have a coupon code for you. And if you go to the website, and again, I'll link that down in the show notes also. If you go to that website, enter this coupon code, you can get 20% off right now in the game of Viae, which is a really, really fantastic deal. So let's get on with this correction here. I hope this helps explain things. I appreciate all your reviews, and let's get on to the gameplay. Hey everybody, welcome to Off the Shelf Board Game Reviews. This video is part of a video series for Viae, The Roads to Rome. In this game, I'm actually going to show you some sample gameplay from a 4-player game between purple, yellow, red, and blue. My hope is with this gameplay video is to give you a rough idea of exactly how the game plays. I'm going to play through a couple rounds, show you some couple card interactions, show you how the game plays. Now if you just want to see a quick overview, learn how to actually play the game or see my full review of the game, check out the other videos in the series. In this video itself, I'm just going to show you some sample gameplay. Now I'm going to have one quick little side rule modification of the rules here. I'm basically going to break the rules for one reason. I'll explain why I'm going to do that. The rules state that at the end of every single round, you're going to shuffle the discard pile into the draw pile with the deception cards. And let me stop right there and also have another segue, because you can never have too many segues when you're trying to explain something, but I'm not going to try to butcher this wonderful language by trying to pronounce all these things, because I'll probably mess up on at least half the words. So I'm going to call these deception cards, I'm going to call these officer cards, I'm going to call these fortune cards, just because I'm not going to butcher all these wonderful words. So just understand I'm kind of cheating in that aspect. Also understand, like I was saying, that at the end of every single round you're supposed to shuffle the discard pile back into the draw pile for all the deception cards. With this video, I want you to see as much of the gameplay as possible, which means I'm not going to shuffle the discard pile. I'm just going to stick it on the bottom just so we can see as many of these cards selecting through. Doing this for two reasons. One, speed. It's going to slow me down if I have to constantly shuffle that deck all the time. Two, I want you to see as many of these deception cards as possible so you get a rough idea of the semi-take that mechanics of these cards or something you like or dislike in a game, because that can influence just how much you're going to enjoy this game, because there are some take that mechanics in these cards right here. The next thing I need to explain is I think I made one minor misspoke issue when I was explaining how to play the game, and that was in the player count right here. And I'll add a comment in the tutorial video just to show it properly, but basically the way this works is this track right here, the colors of this track denote that when the cities are going to start becoming hostile, and also when the fortune event cards are going to occur. On any turn, if you move the round tracker onto any other red turns, those are turns where the fortune cards are going to start coming into the game. So starting with round 3, doesn't matter how many players you're playing with, that's when the fortune cards are going to happen. The difference is in a 2-player game, we're not going to have hostile cities till round 4. In a 3 or higher player game, we're going to start having hostile cities start with round 3. Now remember, cities become hostile if any city is conquered. All adjoining cities connected by roads, whether those roads are built or not, are going to become hostile. So the very important thing to understand is in a 2-player game, hostility doesn't happen until round 4. In a 3 or higher player game, hostility starts as soon as we get to round 3. But events always start from round 3 up. Again, minor correction from my tutorial video. I'll add comments to the tutorial video. Just if you watch that and you saw my mistake and you missed the little note, understand I did realize my error and I'm correcting it right now. But let's go ahead and start the game, and I'm going to show you exactly how to play this game from a full playthrough, just starting with this game. So we're going to start with yellow, red, blue, and purple. Yellow is going to be a player who won the first sword fight. Basically, when you weren't looking at a sword fight between me, myself, and Irene and somebody else who wasn't watching, and yellow won. Okay, so yellow is going to be the first player. So the first thing we need to do is every single player needs to get 2 deception cards. And this is going to be yellow's pile, this is going to be purple's pile. So yellow will get these 2 deception cards, red gets 2 deception cards, blue gets 2 deception cards, and the purple player, as the last player, gains 3 deception cards at the start of the turn. The next thing we are going to have is, since we're playing a 4-player game, that means we're going to have 6 open mandates. Our very first mandate is going to be control all roads that connect Rome to ports. This is a very, very tough card to actually get successfully. I have never seen this card be completely conquered in any gameplay I've had, so I'm actually glad it's one of the open cards versus a personal mission. Next one up we have is controlling 7 consecutive roads. That's actually very doable. I've done that many times myself. Next one is going to be play 4 deception cards in one single turn. Actually, that's not a hard one to do either. Just very expensive on the influence. Next thing is going to be Conquest of Hispania. Means that you have to be the person who actually lays conquest, which means you conquer the last city in Hispania. Next one we're going to have is conquer Grecia, and yeah, I'm not going to try to pronounce it correctly. Basically, Greece and yes, you know what I'm trying to say. Final thing is mandate is going to be another conquest one. Now we're going to go to the red player. Their 2 is going to be 2 conquests for their personal mandates. I'm placing these face up. Normally understand that when you play the game, these are going to be played face down so no other player sees them. You're actually going to tuck them down right here underneath your cohort board. Next one is for blue, is they need to have a lot of resources and they need to do a conquest. Over here for the purple player, they need to have a lot of influence and control 3 cities. That's also a tough one. There's 3 port cities you need to actually control, and it's possible to lose cities, so you have to be very, very careful. Then finally for the yellow player, they have to control 9 cities. Not really that hard. And then the other thing they need to do is conquest. So these are going to be removed from the game. We don't need to worry about these. I'll stick them right down there just because it looks really, really cool. Hopefully on the camera that looks really cool, at least cooler than I think it does. Now that's done, the next thing we need to do is in player order, the players need to figure out what their starting cities are and their starting roads. So we are going to start with the yellow player. We're going to look at our total things that we need to conquer. We need to see that we need to conquer this location right here. So we're going to find this location on the map and we're going to see it's right here. So strategically, it makes the most sense for us to be as close to that as possible. Or maybe not, again, just depends on what kind of strategies we want to play. So that is going to be a yellow player start. Next up is red. We'll look at the red players. We'll look at theirs. We have to conquer these 2 locations right here. And how hard is that going to be? That's not impossible. So we are thinking that we want to start over in that corner. So we will start right in this location right here, and we will take the road to ruin right there. Hopefully it's not the total road to ruin. Next up we have the blue player. We have Conquest of Arabia. That means we want to be a port location to start off. So we are going to take a port location. We will take this port location right here, and that's actually a pretty darn good start for us because that allows us to go to Rome very, very easily. And then finally for the purple player, they need a port city also. Ports are very, very good for them. So purple wants to go for a port. So let us choose that. Let us choose that, and then let us also put a road out right here like that. So the next thing we do is we're going to put out our starting officers. We have 1 officer right here. Their adjacent cities become peaceful. That's always very, very nice. Next one is you don't have to pay unassigned units. That is a beyond phenomenal card. That means any units you don't use on your turn, don't have to pay for them. It's really a great card. Next up we have is when he conquers a hostile city, we get to add 1 more die. Remember, when we roll the dice, we choose the lowest die that we want to keep. So that is the setup for all of our players. All of our players are started. We all have our starting cards, our starting resources of 8 stone. We all have 12 dinar. We're going to start the game with the yellow player. And the first thing we're going to do is move past the fortune, move past the turn order, because turn order started when we do the setup. So the next thing we need to do is we need to gain all of our resources. So for the income part of every one of the phases, I'm going to do this pretty quickly. I'm not making the best decisions. Again, I'm not trying to be as strategic here. I'm trying to show you as much variety of gameplay. So everybody's going to do something just a little bit differently as much as possible. Again, my goal, show you the gameplay so you can decide if this is a game you're going to enjoy. So starting with the yellow player, we get 1 gold for a road. I'm sorry, 1 dinar. I'll probably make that mistake at least a dozen times during this playthrough. And then for our city, we get to choose if we're going to take 1 dinar or if we're going to take 2 stone. We are going to take 2 stone. Why? Because, whoops, that's the wrong player. Who needed the stone? Nope, sorry, blue's going to do that. So it's getting the stone. We are going to take 2 dinar for our yellow player. That is the amount of resources we're going to get. There's no Basilica, so the only thing left to do is to gain our 1 deception card. I'll draw our deception card. It's going to be choose the deception card in this card pile. We get to put it in our hand. Ooh, that's kind of nice. That's a nice deception card. So now we're going to go to the red player. The red player is going to gain 2 stone, and they are going to gain 1 dinar, 1 for the road, 2 for the city, and then they're going to gain a deception card. Ooh, that one's a fun one too. Hey, we're getting fun cards. Next up, we have the blue player. They're going to gain 1 gold for their road. They're going to gain 2 stone because they need lots of stone to gain 1 of their mandates, and then they're going to gain 1 deception card. Evil card, steal cities, always a very fun card. We love cards that allows us to steal resources from other players. Unfortunately, it's not a great card in the beginning because you can't do anything to anybody in SPQR or in Rome, so it's not that bad for all the other players. Finally, over to the purple player, they are going to also gain 2 dinar for their city and 1 dinar for their road. They're not taking any stone because, hey, again, we're trying to do this quickly to show you as much gameplay as possible. We're also going to gain 1 deception card, exchange control of 2 officers controlled by different players. Great card. Doesn't do much good in a 2-player game, but in higher player count games, it's a very good card to have. So that's the gaining of all of our resources. Nobody has any Basilica gain resources, so now we're going to start taking our actions in player order. Now we're playing a 4-player game. That means all of our players do get 4 actions, starting with the yellow player. And for a yellow player, the very first thing we are going to do is we're going to build a road. Roads are good, roads are money, and roads help us do things. Or as an additional option, we can start doing some conquests. Conquests are good. They give us the option of money or stone, so that's also something to also think about. Well, we've already built the road. We know the direction we want to go, but we're not locked into that. We don't have to do that if we don't want to. As a matter of fact, we can less telegraphing our actions if we don't actually do the obvious thing. So do, but don't do, but do, but to do, but to don't, to confuse the other players. How's that for reversing everything on you? Anyways, we are going to go ahead as our very first of 4 actions is we are going to build a road. Now we're going to build a road right here. It's a number 2 road, which means it costs 2 dinar. We'll spend the 2 dinar. It is going to cost 2 stone, because it costs 2 stone to build a road, and it's going to cost 2 of our legions who have to go out there and do the work. That is going to allow us to build 1 road right there. Now remember, anytime we build a road as part of the road building action, we can, if we want, take a free move. And guess what? We want to do that. We will go to this city right here. It's a port city. We've spent 1 action, but we've accomplished 2 things. For our second action, we are going to do a conquest, because conquests are great in the early part of the game, because early part of the game we don't have to worry about hostility, and we can start getting some extra resources and some victory points towards the end of the game. This city right here costs us 3 resources to conquer, so let's go ahead and conquer it. But can we play smart and not really conquer it just yet and maybe use our resources much smarter? Yes, we can, because we've only done 1 action so far. So for our second action, we are going to spend 2 dinar. We will spend that 2 dinar and we are going to buy this officer right here. This officer has 2 things. 1, he has 3 attack and 3 stone building power, but he also has the ability that if we assign our officer pawn to this location, 1 adjacent city becomes peaceful. Very great in later stages of the game. We definitely want this card. Unfortunately, we can't buy this card yet because I'm completely jumping ahead of myself. Sorry, I'm forgetting one minor thing here. This is what happens when we rush. I'm trying to show you as much gameplay as possible. We can't buy officers yet. Sorry, we don't have the influence. He has 5. I was thinking about a totally different officer. My mistake there. So let's gain some influence. So let's backtrack that. Let's play smart again because I'm making a little bit of an error there and I apologize. Let's go ahead and do what we were going to do before. Let's conquer that city as our second action. So for our second action, we will spend 3 of our units to do so. That is going to conquer this city. We will add a fort to that location. We are out of units. That is 2 of our available 4 actions that we have now. Now we have a couple different things we could do. We could recruit some extra units. That's actually what I really should do. That would be the smarter thing to do. So I think I'm going to spend 1 gold and 1 action. Actually, I'm going to spend 2 gold. Let's just go ahead and go brave. We are going to recruit 2 units over here. We still have 11 gold or 11 dinar left. We're actually doing okay. Now we are going to spend these last 2 units right here. Make sure I take my influence for conquering the city before I forget. And then we are going to go ahead and conquer or build this road right here. That is 4 total actions. Again, sorry for a little minor error with the amount of influence. Sorry, I got ahead of myself there. But first action was to build a road. Second action was to conquer. Third action was to recruit. Fourth action was to build another road. That's all 4 of our actions. So the only thing left to do is look to see if we want to spend some deception cards. Yes, we can do this at any time as part of our turn. Let's see if there's anything we can do. I will do this one. This one says you and another player each gain 4 stone. By Jove, I think we are going to do that. So we'll gain 4 stone. And we'll pick another player to gain 4 stone. Let's make this easy. Let's go ahead and give the 4 stone to the purple player right there. As we have that done right there, we are now going to decide if we want to do a second deception card. It will cost us 1 influence to do so, and we will do so. We will spend 1 influence. Why? Because this is going to be a really good card. It says, choose a deception card in the discard pile and put it into your hand. Joy. Stones are not going to be a problem for us. That is actually a really good combination. That is it for our turn. Now the only thing we need to do is we need to spend money for all of our legions. Now these boards are really, really awesome with the fact that we have little slots for all of your pieces and makes it so your pieces don't slide around, and it's really darn cool when you play the game. But when you're trying to do a tutorial video or a gameplay video, you're trying to play fast so you don't bore the audience, it's a little bit hard to get those pieces perfectly in there. So I imagine as this video goes on, I'm just going to start putting the pieces right here. I'm only doing that because I'm looking for efficiency and speed, because I want this to be an enjoyable video where I'm not doing the wah 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 like a Snoopy video, because I want you to be watching the gameplay. So I might start doing this, but understand those slots do work perfectly. I'm just being kind of lazy. But that's enough of that stuff, Doc. That wah 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 stuff. Yellow is done. They now need to spend 7 of our remaining 11 to pay for our resources there. So we're going to spend this 10. That will leave us with 3 dinars left over from that. Oops, that's not cheating. Accidentally grab a 5. So we have 4 dinars left over. That's the end of our turn. We're now done with the yellow player. Now let's go to the red player. And now for the red player's turn, let's look at our deception cards. Oops, that's the blue player. Boy, I'm really batting 1,000 here. So the red player, we have draw cards from the caster deck equal to the number of players and deal each player a unit of your choice. Very, very nice. Pay another player $5 to recruit one of their officers for free. Ooh, that could be nice. I could actually give an officer and steal it back. Unfortunately, I can't do it because I'm not allowed to have the officers, because I don't have the required amount of influence, but that could be a very nice combination to use at a later date. And except for you, all players discard their deception, then they draw 2 new cards, and that's done in turn order. These are actually really good deception cards to use at later dates as a possible really, really nice combination. Probably not too great to use it right now. And we've got to remember our mandates that we need is to conquer Gallia and Parthia and Keltae. I know I'm butchering and saying these names wrong. Just leave comments down below, make fun of me, and help educate me on how to pronounce things properly. It's probably going to be better to educate me and make fun of me at the same time. So anyways, that means we need to conquer these 2 locations, and well, those locations need to be conquered, and then Gallia, which is going to be over here. So we as a red player know that we want to be in these 2 separate locations there, because once those areas are conquered, guess what? We're going to gain victory points. That's really, really good for us. So having gone along that thought process, we know that I actually put that road on the wrong spot, but hey, maybe I was trying to be deceptive and not let everybody else know what we're going for. Or maybe I was, or maybe I wasn't. Who knows? That's all part of the mind game when you play games like this. So the first thing we are going to do with our first of 4 available actions is we need to decide what we want to do. We are going to build, and we are going to start exploring, and we're going to start figuring out what actions we want to do. So the first thing we are going to do is I think what we're going to do is we're going to head this direction, which is meaning we're going to spend... actually, I don't know if we want to do that. I have a couple of decisions I need to make right now. It's tough decisions. And let's see here. Tough decisions, tough calls, and I need to do this just right, looking at all the different locations that are available. See, 7 roads. I think I'm going to go for the 7 roads one and build out in a long circular pattern, because that'd be 1 road, 2 roads, 3 roads, 4 roads, 5 roads, 5 roads, 6 roads, 7 roads. Yeah, if I do a long circular pattern, I can gain this location and possibly others. Or if I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think it's better off going the other way, because that's all I have for resources. So for my very first action, I am going to move to this location right there. For my next action, I'm going to spend 2 workers, I'm going to spend 2 dinar, and I'm going to spend 2 stone, and I am going to build a road right here. As part of that road building action, I'm going to move to this location right here, and now I have spent 2 actions, 1 to move and another one to build a road. For my third action, I am going to spend 2 more of my workers, and I'm going to build 1 more road, which is going to cost me 2 more dinar. I'll get 8 back. And it's going to cost me 2 more of my stone right there, and then I will move into this location. That is 3 actions, and then that is a 4, and I have 1 worker left. I think that we are going to, let's see here, I have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 dinar left. I have to pay for 5 of my workers. I have 1 action left. I don't have any deception cards I want to do just yet, although that one is pretty darn tempting, so I don't know about that one. I need to think about that very carefully. I don't want to conquer yet, so what I think I'm going to do is with my last action, I'm going to simply spend 1 dinar, which is going to allow me to recruit 1 unit. So that is all my actions. Now I must spend 6 dinar to pay for my workers, or my legions, and then they will go back onto my board, and that will end my turn. Again, first action, second action, third action, and then fourth action was to recruit. That's going to be it for the red player's turn. Let's go ahead and go over to the blue player's turn now. So for the blue player's turn, let's go ahead and look at what deception cards we have here. We have choose a region with hostile cities. Each player loses 1 influence. Choose a player that can't conquer peaceful cities their next turn, and exchange control 2 cities. Oh, that is so mean and evil. That's such a great card to have. So basically what it allows you to do is when you exchange control of 2 cities, you can actually use the Basilica to really greatly to your advantage when you do that. So the blue player, we know that we need to get resources and we need to conquer Arabia, which means we need to start sailing, or at least get Arabia conquered. So that means we need to start sailing, and sailing is what we are going to do, because if we can get Arabia nicely to ourselves, we can also build a basilica over there and do a basilica for money. That means only we, and we alone, are going to gain money. So let's go ahead and possibly spend some money to go sailing if we really, really want to. Maybe a little bit early for that, because we need to have, well, let's see, we have 13. I think it's actually going to be worth it. Again, I'm trying to show you as much gameplay as possible. So it's going to be 3 to sail out, 3 more to sail in, which means we are going to have $4 or 4 dinar left, plus our 3 is going to be a total of 7. We will come over to this city right here, and that's our first action. For our second action, we're going to send all 5 of our units there, and we are going to conquer that city. That is our second action. Now remember, whenever we conquer a city, we do gain 1 point of influence. It's a friendly city. I still have 2 actions left over. I don't see any deception cards that I really, really want, and nothing I really, really want to spend yet. I spent 2 actions. What I'm going to do is I am going to, let's see here, I'm going to spend 1 action and 1 dinar to recruit 1 unit. That leaves me with 1 action left over. I'm going to use that last action. Where is the board to show you right here? Use that last action right here for a prepare action, which is going to give me 2 dinar left over. So we'll have our 2 dinar left over, and then again, this is where I'm going to start getting lazy just for the speed of the video here. We have 6 legions. That means I need to spend 6 dinar. That's 2. There is 4, and then finally there is 6. That leaves us with 2 dinar left over. That's the end of the blue player's turn. Let's go ahead and look at what the purple player wants to do. The purple player is the purple trader, or the perpetrator if we really want to be funny. So exchange control of 2 officers controlled by different players. That means we get to rotate their officers around. Next time you take the conquer action, add 3 attack value to your attacking unit's total. Very nice. Choose one. The next road you build costs no resources or gain 3 stone. Finally, your legions have 2 attack power each this turn. We are probably looking at a lot of conquest. The problem is I don't know if we are in the right position for conquest, or are we? Let's see. Carthago, Alexandria, and Londinium. Carthago, if I remember correctly, is right there. Oh, they just stole our card, so we can't do this. So we need a way to steal this city before we can do this mandate. If we can't get that city stolen, we are not going to get that mandate. So that is something we are going to have to think about. So we need to start looking at some of the other mandates to start getting our victory points, and also looking at influence. So what do we want to do at this point? We are in a port city. We originally were thinking about doing one thing. We're not going to be able to do that, so we need to change up our strategies of exactly what we want to do. Luckily, we have a lot of aggressive cards, so that is always a good thing. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to spend 6 dinars to go sailing, 3 to leave and 3 to enter the next city. we are going to come over here to this city right here, because again, we need at least that city as part of our control requirements. If we get that control requirements, that's going to be 2 victory points for us. So we are now going to do a conquest action. I think we are just going to burn this card right here for our second action, which is going to give us +3 to our attack. Or I can use the other one. I don't think I want to use the other one yet. This is going to give us +3 to attack, so I'm going to spend 2 + 3 is a total of 5. That's going to allow us to conquer that city. I will discard that card right there, and then we need to put up one of our forts to signify that we have conquered that city. And now let's figure out what we want to do with our next 2 actions. For our third action, we're going to start establishing a really good base of financial gain, and we are going to go ahead and build a basilica. Now, to build a basilica is going to cost us 5 stone. It's also going to cost us 5 dinar. The nice thing about doing this is this is going to give us a nice source of income for the rest of the game, as long as we're the only person there. And even if we're not the only person there, that just means that somebody else is going to have to get wealth also, but we're still going to get a lot of wealth. So it works out quite perfectly. So this is our third action. So it costs us 5 stone and 5 dinar, and we are going to build the golden basilica there. That's going to give us 5 dinar every single round, as long as we have 1 city at least in Africa. That's a nice bonus. That's our third action. And for our fourth action, we are going to go ahead and do the pass action, or as they call it in the game, it's called the preparation action, because we need the dinar to pay for our units. So at the end of our turn, we now need to pay for 5 legions, which is going to cost us 5 dinar, and we're going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's going to leave us with 1 dinar left over. But again, we have a nice income set up for our player. That's the end of the turn. So we paid for our resources. That's the end of the turn for us. So now at this point, well, I guess we do have some more deception cards we could play, but we don't want to. But at this point, again, home ruling this, or not really home ruling this, just making this for the video. I'm not going to shuffle these because I'm trying to make this as fast and efficient as possible. Going to put those at the bottom of the deck. That's the end of the first round. Let's go to the second round. So starting with the second round, now we're going to advance this token. We're still not in the red, so we don't need to worry about any fortune cards. So now we get to move to the point where we get to bid for player order. Now the good thing about looking out here is you can look at how much money all the other players and decide if they can outbid you or not. And the nice thing about this is yellow knows that looking at all the money of the other players, they don't need to spend a lot of money to lock in first place. But the question they need to ask themselves is, does it really matter in what order they go for? Do they have any cards that require them to go immediately or require them to go very early? Actually not. They actually have cards that require them to probably go last. So for them, it's actually smart to go ahead and just place right there, which means they go last, but they want to use this card for the stone and make sure they give the stone to the person who cannot use it earlier. So it's kind of a nice bonus for them. Now red only has 2 dinars left over. They don't know if they really need to go first. So again, they're not going to spend any money and they will place their piece right here. Blue pretty much feels the same, and purple also definitely doesn't need to spend money to go ahead and keep the turn order. So that is a turn order, so let's go ahead and gain money for all of our players. So we'll start with the yellow, or let's start with purple since they're going to be the first player. We see that purple has 1 road, so they're going to gain 1 dinar for the 1 road. And then we see that we have 2 cities, and we can take stone or we can take money, dinars for each one of our cities. We're going to take money, even though we're getting money over here. We don't need stone quite yet. We only need, I think, 5 stone, unless math has failed me, and I don't think math has failed me yet. So we only need 5 stone right now. So we're going to go for the money. So we are going to take 4 dinar for our 2 forts, and then we're going to take 5 more dinar for the basilica, which is going to give us a total of 9, which puts us all the way up in 11 money, or 11 dinar. That's really good. So the only thing left to do is to get a deception card, and we will gain, move a player to Rome. They gain 5 dinar and 1 influence. Well, that's going to be a card we're probably going to use on ourselves after we finish conquering Africa. Pretty darn nice. That actually works out really good. So now that we're done with purple, we now get to go to the blue player, and the blue player is all the way over here. So the first thing they're going to do is they will gain 1 dinar for having their 1 road built over there. Again, looking at the track over here, we can see what we got there. We have 2 forts. We know that money is a priority at this time, so we are going to take 4 more dinar. So I'm going to take a 5 and a 1 right there. So we have 4 and 1 is 5. We gain a total of 5 dinar. So we're going to have to watch our money and our resources very cautiously and very carefully, because we might have actually put ourselves in a little bit of a financial burden. That's why you got to be smart and strategize. I'm trying to show you all the aspects of this game. Of course, when I did that, I did the wrong player because I wasn't watching very, very carefully. So I will put the 5 over here on blue, who actually has 8. They're doing a lot better than I thought. Hey, now let's go and do this properly. So now we're going to go over to the red player. That's the one who had to watch their financial quite a lot. But luckily we have some roads built. So we have 1, 2, 3, plus 1 city is going to be a total of 5. They're the ones who need to watch their finances very, 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 very cautiously. So they're probably going to be using a lot of the ability to prepare to make sure they have money at the end of the turn, so they're probably not going to use all of their actions. So now we're going to go to the yellow player. The yellow player has a lot of options. They have 2 cities built and 3 roads. That's going to be 3 plus 4 is a total of 7 dinar. We know we don't need stone at all, so we are going to take all 7 of the dinar because we have that nice card that can give us stone anytime we want, and we're really happy with that. So the only thing left to do is to make sure we give deception cards to the players I missed. Blue gets their deception card is you don't roll any dice for the next hostile city you conquer. Very nice. Just take the city out directly. That's a great card to keep. Next thing for the red for the deception card is choose one. A hostile city becomes peaceful, or a peaceful city becomes hostile. Also a very nice one. And then for the yellow player, we are going to get place a basilica next to a city you control. Oh, that is beyond awesome. We can take care of our financial needs and our stone needs very, very quickly. Although we don't want to make the lands look far too lucrative, because if we do, the other player is going to come visiting, so we have to be very careful. Luckily, we go last in this turn, so hey, maybe that can influence our decisions, and maybe we can be just a little bit deceptive in all the actions we're going to take. So now that we gained all of our resources and all of our cards for all of our players, let's go ahead and start the turn. Purple is going to be the very first player. And we have 5 units, and we have a couple different things we can do. We need to make sure that we have 5 dinar left over at the end of our turn to make sure that we can afford to pay for our units. Other than that, it's basically anything we want to do at that point. And I forgot to take the influence there. And I forgot to take the influence. Did I? No, they spent the card, so that's good. I got to make sure I keep myself very, very honest on all this stuff. It's a little bit hard playing 4 players and watching everything on the board, but I'm trying to keep myself as honest as possible. So the first thing we are going to do is we're going to spend 2 dinar, and we are going to spend 2 stone, and we are going to build a road. That is going to cost us 2 of our workers who will go over there, and we will build a road right at this location. Again, this is future income for us, and we are going to take that free move. We've only spent 1 action. The next thing we are going to do is we are going to spend 2 more units, and we are going to conquer a peaceful city. So remember, when you conquer a peaceful city, you do gain a 1 point of influence. It's also going to give us some revenue or stone if that's what we need, but we've only spent 2 actions so far, and we only have 1 worker left over. We need to watch how much of our income we have and be very, very careful about that, but you also want to build the roads. So we do have a little bit of a conundrum here. We want to make sure we are not overspending here. Let's see here. By Jove, let's go ahead and use the deception card, because we can play as a deception card. Choose one. The next road you build costs no resources. Okay. Let's build that road for no resources. That is actually really darn nice. So our first action we did was to build a road. Our second action was to conquer. Our third action was to go ahead and build a road. And we will go ahead and move over at the end of that action as part of building that road. We still have 1 action left over, and we are simply going to do the preparation, and that's going to give us 2 dinar right now. That way we make sure we have enough, and then we are going to take all of our workers back. And again, for speed, I'm just simply going to use this part of the board. Again, the board works really, really nice. I'm just trying to be as fast as possible. We'll spend the 5 dinar. Our turn is over. We now get to go over to the blue player. Now, the blue player has $8, but we also have 6 workers, so that means we need to be very careful about our finances and how much money we're spending. I'm going to put this over there like that so I don't forget, and I'm going to look at all of our deception cards that we have. Let's see here. 1, 2, I didn't forget that. Make sure I didn't forget anything. Okay, let's see. Okay, none of those deception cards we want to use just yet. So we're trying to conquer Arabia. So the first action we are going to do is we are going to spend 2 stone. And we're going to spend 2 workers. And we are going to spend 2 of our dinar, and we are going to build a road. And then we are going to take free movement from that road. Second thing we're going to do is we're going to spend 2 of our legions and we're going to conquer a city. It's a friendly city, so it does cost us that, and we're going to gain 1 influence from doing that 1 action. That's 2 actions down. Let me look at my cards again here really quick. Okay, so for our 3rd action, we will move here. And then for our 4th action, I think what we're going to do is we're going to sacrifice our 4th action for preparation. That's going to give us 2 dinar. Then we'll end our turn by spending 6 dinar to pay for our current legions of 6 legions. That will be it for our turn. That is it for the blue player's turn. Next up is going to be the red player, who has 6 legions and 4 actions and only $6. So we must be very judicious with what we do here. First thing we are going to do is we are going to spend 4 in a conquest. We will conquer our current location right there. That is going to give us 1 point of influence for conquering that 1 location. And let's see what else we can do with our deception cards that we have. Let's see here. Draw cards from the cache equal to the number of players and deal each player a unit of your choice. Not thinking we want to do that because we don't want that financial burden yet. I think what we're going to do is we are simply going to use our last, let's see, we've done 1 action so far to conquer. Our second action is going to be to build a road right there. So we're going to spend 2 dinars. So we'll get 3 dinars back from doing that. We'll spend 2 of our workers, and then we will spend 2 stone to build that road. And then we are simply going to move over here along that road. That is our second action. We're going to prepare with our last 2 actions, which is going to give us 4 dinar. And then we're going to have to spend 6 of that dinar just to keep our legions going. And that leaves us just a little bit of money. And we're hoping that is a really good decision for us. I think it's actually going to work out for us. Now let's go over to the yellow player. Now the yellow player, for their turn, we know exactly what they're going to do. First thing they are going to do is they are going to spend this deception card right here. And they are going to place a Basilica. They are also going to build the money Basilica right there. And we will discard this card right there. That's no actions right there. And then we have 7 legions to work with and 4 actions. And plenty of money and no money problems really to worry about this time. So I think what we are going to do is, let's see here. I think we are just going to spend 3 of our workers right there. And we are going to spend $3 and we're going to spend 3 stone. Just like that. And we are going to build a road as our first action, and we are going to travel down that road. Our second action is we are going to go to war and we are going to conquer this location, and that'll cost us 1 of those or give us 1 of those. And then what we are going to do is we are going to spend that 1 influence. We are going to gain 4 stone, and we're going to pick another player at the table to also gain 4 stone. Not a big deal. Who wants 4 stone? Who looks like they're going to get the least bonus out of 4 stone? Let's give it to blue this time. So blue will gain the 4 stone. So I built, 1 action was to build roads. Second action was the conquest. I still have 2 actions left over. So third action, I'm going to spend 2 more dinar, 2 more workers, and I'm going to build a road, and I'm just going to slide right in over there. I have 1 action left over. I am going to use it as a prepare action, and then I'm going to spend 7 of my dinar to keep all of my units nice and happy. And that is going to end my turn for the yellow player. That is going to end it for this round. Again, this would normally shuffle in. I'm trying to be as quick and as efficient, so we're not going to worry about that. That ends the second round. Let's go ahead and start the third round of the game. So starting on round 3 is when you're going to start seeing a lot of the interaction that really happens in the game. The first 2 rounds of the game go pretty quick as players start establishing their little corners of the world, which are kind of typical in these area control games. Once there's a little bit of a blueprint established, all the players start looking for the juicy spots that they want to go after. And now turn order is going to start mattering, and also what's going to matter is now we're going to start getting the fortune cards, which can definitely change the way the player is going to play their strategies depending on which kind of fortunes or possible misfortunes may start happening. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to move to the fortune phase, and we're going to advance the turn tracker. And guess what? Since we're playing a 4-player game, fortune's happening, and now hostilities start happening. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw a fortune card, and it says recruiting units from the caster cost +2 gold or +2 dinar and require 2 more influence, which means this round people are definitely not going to be picking up officers if they're starting to think about doing so. Not that we really can. The only one that's possible is this one. But now he's not even possible. I don't think any of our players can get them because we've all been kind of burning the influence for various different actions. So that's not going to happen. And we also have to start worrying about hostilities. So let's make sure we're keeping track of everything that's going on. But next thing to happen is we are going to work on player order. So now at this point, player order really, really matters, especially for all of our players as they start looking at all the juicy resources all across the board. So purple likes money. They want a lot of money, and they see a lot of potential for money, and they want to make sure that it's not just everybody else all in the money pit. They want to be part of the money pit because money is a very powerful resource in this game, because if you have money coming in, you can also just start getting stone from all your cities, and stone can also be a very powerful resource. So we look over here at purple, and we see that they have a decent amount of money. They know they only have 5 legions they need to pay for, so that means they only need to have 5 dinar at the end of the turn. And they know they have a nice income coming in, and they know that they're also at a port. Knowing all this, they decide that they are going to spend 3 dinar to pick their turn order. Why are they doing this? Because they want money. So they'll spend 3 dinar to go right there. Well, blue is going to look at the board and go, well, gee, what are you going for? I think I'm going to spend 1 dinar to go second, because I think I know what I want, and I think I know what you're doing, but I really don't. But hopefully I'm figuring this out right. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. But I'm still going to spend 1 dinar to do my action, because I'm also looking at the wonderful resources available on the board already. Red looks out of the board and says, yeah, I don't really care. I can go last because I already know what I'm doing. It doesn't matter for the rest of you. You guys can all do what you're doing. I have my own plans and my own actions, and the only things I want to do on my single turn is I'm going to go turtle in the corner, because that's how I want to play this game. Yellow is going to come up next, and yellow's like, yeah, it really doesn't matter to me either, and they're going to go right there. So this is going to be the turn order for this round. Now that we've established turn order, let's go ahead and gain our resources. We'll start with the purple player. We're going to gain a 1, 2, 3 dinar, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, plus 5 is going to be 14. I'll take one of these back to make sure I just make a nice, easy 15 dinar for the purple player. Works out perfectly for us because we're burning some of the dinar very, very quickly, and we don't really need stone just yet for this turn. Next up is the blue player. Blue player needs stone and money, but we have a lot of stone resources, so we're not going to really worry about taking stone this time. So we're going to take 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, we're going to take 8 dinar. Hopefully that's going to be enough for us. I think it's going to be enough. If not, well, maybe we're just going to start risking some other resources to at least stay in the game. And I think we're actually may lose some legions, or maybe have to burn some actions. So next up we have the yellow player. Yellow player is looking at all the things. They see that we have plenty of stone, so we just need money. So it's going to be 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, plus 5 is going to be 16. So we will take 16 dinar, which means we can more than easily pay for all of our armies. And now we get to go to the red, who's going to have 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 dinar. Plus 2 is going to be 10 dinar. We probably could use some stone, but we're not really worried about. 2 is all we really need for the action we are about to complete. So that is it for gaining the resources. Let's make sure we gain the deception cards. Purple gains the first one. It says take 1 stone from each other player. It's a really great card in a large player game. Not so great in a 2-player game. Next up we have is the blue player who's going to pay another player 10 dinar and take control of a city they control. That's such a fun card. And actually, that is perfect Wow, that's actually going to be perfect. I may change up the strategy I was thinking about with the blue player. That's actually really, really nice. Next up is the yellow player. Their card is going to be shuffle an officer from any player's cohort into the coster pile, which basically means you just assassinated their officer. We'll put that right there. And then the final one is going to be the red player, who is going to gain, look at the top 3 deception, put 1 in your hand and discard the others. Don't think anybody has more than 5. You have 5, you have 5, you have 2, and you have 4. So we are good. So that's it for gaining all of our resources. Let's go ahead and take our actions for all the players. The first thing the purple player is going to do, or the purple trader, purple trader, it's funny in my mind. Anyways, the first thing the purple trader is going to do is they're going to do a sale action. So it costs 3 to sail out of the location you're going to go into, and 3 to go to the bank, or 3 to the other player, depending if you happen to be visiting another player's city. And that is exactly what we're going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and break this down really quick. It's going to cost me 3 to leave the current port city I am in, and then we are going to land in this port city over there, which means we now need to spend 3 dinar and give that to the yellow player. Unfortunately, it does cut into our financial supplies, but that is a-okay for us. We have spent 1 action so far. The next action we're going to do is we're going to move along another player's road. Again, that's going to cost us 1 dinar because, hey, we're using another player's road, and that is our second action. Our third action is going to be take over the city. Why do we want to do that? Because there's a Basilica there, and remember, that's going to be income for us. So for us, this seems like a great idea because we don't know what conquest card this player happens to have. We don't know it, but hey, it's going to show you some sample gameplay here. So for our third action, remember, 1 to sail, 2 to move. Our third action is going to be to try to conquer the city. That is going to cost us 4 of our units. Of course, I have deception cards I could play, and actually, let me look at them because I think I'm close to my deception limit here. See, we're at 4. You know what? I am actually going to use one of these. I'm going to use one of our deception card, which makes all of our legions for this turn have 2 strength versus 1. So I only need to use 2 of my legion because they're each worth 2. I need a total of 4 to conquer the city. I will discard this card right here, and I will take control of this city right here. Since it's a friendly city and this is my third action, I will gain 1 point of influence, and I still have 1 action left. But first, before we do anything, all connected non-controlled cities are now going to gain 1 level of hostility. So this city, whoops, that's the wrong one. Let's see here. This city right here will be level 5 on the first alert status. This one will become a level 3 alert status. Now the level of the cities never change, just the alert status is the only thing that changes for these cities. And this one will gain a level 3. Now since these cities are conquered, even though they are connected, nothing's going to happen. And even though these roads aren't built, these cities are still going to be alerted to the fact that Rome is expanding and they're going to be ready for any kind of attacks. So that is a third action we have taken on our turn. And at this point, the yellow player will say, ding, congratulations. Thank you for helping me complete one of my personal mandates. You can't complete this, I can, and since this has happened, this whole region has been conquered, guess what? I now have 2 victory points. If I get 2 more mandates, the game is going to come to an end. So we'll place this right here to signify to everybody that one player has already completed one of their mandates. And now we'll go ahead and finish the purple player's turn as I go, darn it, I just helped you. That's not exactly what I wanted to do. So for our next action we are going to build a road because we want to expand this direction. I think we're actually going to go this direction because we want to look at, what was it? That was Hispania? Let's see here. Play smart, play smart, play very, very smart. I thought one of them was for Grecia, or was that another player? Let's see, looking at everything, nope, those was that, who had that? Well, I'm not going to waste time looking at it. I know some, oh yeah, no, it's this one right here, so I do want to do that. So as long as I am the first person to conquer Grecia, and that one, so if I do this in the right order, I can make this work out very perfectly for me. So I'm going to put 3 in the road building, I'm going to spend 3 stone, and I'm going to spend 3 dinars. That gives me 7 dinars back. This is my final action for the turn, and I will build a road right here. Now I can't follow this road because remember, when you build a road you can take a move action for free. The unfortunate thing is that was my 4th action for the turn, which means I can't go here because it costs an action to attack a city, and anytime a city has reached a hostile status of alert or mobile, you have to spend an attack action, so we can't actually go there. So that is going to be the end of our turn. We did spend 1 card. Do we want to burn any more influence for any additional cards? And I think, therefore, I don't think it's worth burning the influence, because remember, we need to get to 10 influence and we need to gain 1 general over there. So that's something we need to pay close attention to. That's actually going to be it for the purple player. Let's go ahead and go to the blue player. Now, the blue player is also looking at the financial aspects of being part of this money empire. So we are going to do, as our first action, is we are going to spend 3 dinar. And we are going to spend 3 stone. And we are going to spend 3 of our workers, and we are going to simply build a road. We'll build the road here, and then we're going to slide right over here as our first action. For our second action, we are going to spend 3 more of our guys. Let me make sure I don't have any cards I want to use first, so we're starting to get high on cards. And let's see, choose player. They can't conquer peaceful cities. Exchange control of 2 cities. Yep, you know what? I think I'm actually going to do that. So, first thing we did is we moved over into this location right over here. So that was our first action. For our second action, we are going to attack that city. So we will put this right here, and that'll give us 1 point of influence for attacking that city. And then this city is going to go into alert status right now. We're not too worried about that. Not a big problem for us. Then, since we've already spent 2 actions, we're going to play this deception which says exchange control of 2 cities. So we are going to take this and this just like that. And now guess what? We're now part of the financial pie in 2 different locations. We're also going to be getting 2 dinar every single round just by playing smartly with our cards. So that was 2 actions on our turn. Let's see here. We did a move. Or I'm going to see, we did a build, we did an attack. I still have 2 actions left over, but I only have 6 dinar left over. So I'm going to spend 1 action, and I'm going to move right there. And then for my final action, I'm going to do a prepare, because I'm happily, very, very happily knowing that I have some financial resources coming in very, very quickly. So I believe I took my influence. If I didn't, just leave a comment down in the comments down below if I forgot something about that. And now we get to go over to the yellow player's turn. So the yellow player for their turn needs to do what they're going to do. They are going to conquer a city. Actually, we didn't get to do that mandate just yet. I got ahead of myself. Sorry, I cheated. Sorry, we still need to conquer the city. As soon as we conquer that city, that mandate's going to be filled up. So let's do that as our first action. So we'll do 3 for an attack. We will conquer this city, and then since there's no neighboring cities to become hostile, actually I take that back, yes there is. So this city is now going to become hostile, and we will gain 1 influence for that action. Do we have any cards we want to play? Not quite yet. So now this mandate is completed, and now we got to smile and say, hey everybody, thank you for helping me. I managed to complete 1 of my mandates. That's 2 victory points, blah, 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 blah. We've done 1 action. We have 3 actions left over. Our next action is we need to control a lot of cities, which means we need to build. So how much money do we have left over here? We have, let's see here, 2, 4, 5. So we have 12 dinar right now. We have 7, so that leaves us with 5. Let's see here. That's going to be a challenging one to attack right now. But I still want to do it, so I'm going to spend, let's see here. Don't know if I want to do that quite yet. Let's look at our possible cards over here. So, let's see here. I think we need to play smart here. So we did 1 action to conquer. Let's do our second action to move right here. Our third action is going to build a road of 3 right there, which would be 3 workers, 3 dinar and 3 stone. And then for our final action, I think, oops, let me put the road out there. I think for our final action, we are just going to save it to get 2 dinar back. Now we need to spend 7 dinar. Let's see, 5, 6, and 7. That will be the end of the yellow player's turn. Now let's go over to the red player. The red player has not a lot of money, but we do have a lot of hopes and a lot of dreams and a lot of desires. So we're going to spend 6. We're going to get 4 back. So we'll put the 4 dinar there. We will sail to, actually before we do that, we are actually going to, no, we can't conquer. What cards do we have here? Actually, I think we are going to take that back. We are not going to sail just yet. I think I have a much better decision, and it's going to be a decision that's going to show a lot better variety on the gameplay. So I think I have a much better decision I'm going to make here. First thing we are going to do is we're going to use a deception card we were talking about earlier. It says draw cards from the caster deck equal to the number of players and deal each player a unit of your choice. Each player recruits a unit for free, and then we're going to recycle the caster pile itself. So we're going to draw 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we're going to take the one of these of our choice. We want the one that gives us lots and lots of attack. So you can't lose control of your cities. That's very nice. Recruit for free. This is, no, we're not going to do that one. See, Deceptio costs 3 or costs 1 less to play. That's actually a really good one because we want to play lots of deception cards. So we will take this deception card right here, and then we get to assign the other ones to the other players. So I will give this one to this player right here. I will give this one to the purple player right here, and I will give this one to the blue player right there. That is our deception card, which does not even cost us an action to do. So that actually works out perfectly. So now for my very first action, we are going to attack the city. Now this is a level 3 city, so I will simply gain 3 attack right there, right from that unit right there. That gives me all the 3 attack I need. That will allow me to take control of the city. That will give me 1 point of influence, and then we got to worry about any connected cities becoming hostile. There's only 1 connected city, so it will become alert. That is good right there. That is our first action. Our second action now is to spend 6 dinar to go ahead and go sailing. So 6 dinar to go over here. That will be our second action. Our third action is going to be to attack this city right here. That is going to make this city become alert. That is our third action. First was attack, second was sailing, third was attacking again, and now we have 1 action left, and we are going to save that action to go ahead and gain 2 dinar, which will put us up to 6 dinar. So we'll spend 3, 6 dinar to go ahead and pay for all of our resources, pay for our legions, but now we have to pay for this one right here. So we are going to lose 2 guys because we can't afford it, and we want to keep this guy right here. And now I need to backtrack because I just realized I didn't pay for blue and yellow's units. So we got to do 7 right there, gain 3 back right there, and then blue needed to pay for 6 right there, and there is the 6 right there. And actually I think, nope, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Yellow did pay. Blue is the one that had not paid yet. So that corrects everything. That is going to be it. Everybody's paid for their actions. Everybody has their finished resources. Only thing left to do is for the discard pile to go into the draw pile right here. And then we get to start round number 4. And actually, before we end the turn, I did forget that I was supposed to shuffle all of these cards back into the deck right here. I'm just going to do this very quickly. Refill this, and yes, I'm supposed to shuffle, but again, I'm trying to do this very quickly just for the camera and make things go very, very quickly. So that was part of the rest of that deception card that we played. That is the end of the turn. This is no longer in effect. So let's go and start round 4. And again, the first thing we are going to do in this is we're going to advance the turn marker. And the next fortune is going to come out that says players cannot play deception cards this round. So that's going to change up the way things are going to happen on this turn. So when that's done, the next thing we need to do is we need to bid for player order. Now I want to make this the last round of this demo sample gameplay because I think you get a good idea of how the pace and how the game is going to play. And as the rounds start moving on, we're going to start seeing a lot more interaction between the players. The early rounds are pretty much just a little bit nibbling at each other, testing the waters, and as the good low-hanging fruit starts appearing, that's where the players are going to start influencing their decisions, especially with the deception cards that come out and the plays of the other players as we start trying to make sure we're getting a big piece of all those resource pies. So we're going to make this the final round of the game, or the sample game. So the next thing we need to do is we need to figure out the player order. Now purple looks at everything over here and sees this conquest over here, so they decide that having a lot of resources is better than trying to burn things, get early player order. And maybe being last in the player order could be a bonus for them depending on what the yellow player does. Next up we have the blue player. Blue is in a very good position over there. They know that they need to conquer Arabia, which is over here. So they're nice and happy just to sit over here in a corner. The yellow player knows that they're going for Greece, so they will go over here, and then the red player also really can't do anything but except to go right there. So now let's go ahead and figure out all the resources for a player. Red first is going to get, let's see, we only need 2 stone on our turn, so I'm just going to take money to make this quickly. Generally speaking, you want to balance it and to figure out what your later rounds are going to do, but since this is the last round of the demo game, we're just going to take the money to make it easy. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. No Basilica, so we are going to simply get 12 dinars for us right here. That's it for the red player. Next up, we are going to do the yellow player. So the yellow player has 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, plus 5 is going to be 19. So let's just take this over here and we will take 20 dinars. As you see, money is not a problem for the yellow player at all at this point. Next up, we have the blue player. Blue is looking really great on the financial front. So for the blue player, we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, plus 10 is going to be 21 dinar for them. They are sitting extremely happy with their financial income right now. They don't need to worry about their financial resources, and they can start doing some really good purchases this turn, so they're actually very, very happy about that. Finally, the purple player is going to gain 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, plus 10 is going to be 22 dinars. So they also are sitting extremely well when it comes to the financial aspects of the game. So money is not really a problem for any of our players, except I'm going to take that back just a little bit. Instead of gaining 2 dinar for one city, they're going to take 1 stone, so they can at least do the action they want to do on their turn. So that is it. All of our players just need to get deception cards. Nobody has a 6 on our influence just yet, so that's 1 deception card for everybody. Red is going to gain this one, which allows us to gain resources. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We are okay on that. Next up is going to be yellow, who is building roads does not cost you any actions this turn. Very nice. Next up is going to be blue. Blue is going to get discard any number of deception and gain influence for each deception discarded in this way. Well, that's going to be very, very nice for the blue player. Why, yes, I do think I want that card very, very badly. And then finally, the purple player is going to gain, choose one. A player chooses a city they control and removes it from the map or gain control of a peaceful city. Whoa, that's nice and devious. I like that a lot. That's actually going to help the purple player quite a bit. So that's all the resource gains for all of our players. Let's go ahead and start the round. So the red player is going to be the very first player to act. And they're going to play this card right here. It says choose one. A hostile city becomes peaceful or peaceful city becomes hostile. Guess what? We're going to make a hostile city nice and peaceful. That doesn't cost us an action. That's simply playing our first deception card. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to send 2 of our guys over here to build a road. That's going to cost us 1 action. It's going to cost us 2 dinar, and it's going to cost us 2 stone. So let's spend our 2 dinar for building that right there. that is our first action, and as part of that action we will move over here. Our second action is going to be a recruit action, so we will recruit 2. That's going to leave us with 8 dinar, and we're going to take over 2 more of these guys right there. For our third action, we are going to do a conquest, which is going to cost us 3 of our legions, and then we will conquer this location right here, and that will gain us 1 influence. Now we have a couple different options we can do right here. We still have 1 action left. Let's see here. We have 4 influence. And actually, I just cheated. I forgot about that fortune card right there. I could not have played this deception. So I need to do that just a little bit differently. I forgot that city is actually going to remain hostile. So let me go ahead and restart this turn all the way over again. And I do apologize right there. Again, that's one of the challenges when you're trying to play lots of teams and trying to pay a lot of attention to a lot of things when you're trying to show some gameplay for how to play a game. So let's take the 2 and the 2 back right there, and let's go ahead and start our turn all over again. This is not going to make a difference. I can still accomplish what I need to do, and this is probably going to show you some better gameplay anyways. So the very first thing we are going to do on our turn, fix that mistake, because I forgot about that fortune card that's in play. I can't play that deception card, so I'll change up what I'm going to have to do. So the very first thing we will do is we will lose those 2 guys right there, and we're back to resetting the full turn. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to spend 2 guys, and we are going to build a road. That is our first action. And as part of that action, we're going to move over here. And now for our second action, we are going to attack that city. So to attack that city, I am actually taking a risk there. So before I build that, I am going to do a recruit action to gain 2 more guys. And then I'm going to build that road, and then I'm going to move in that city. For my third action, I'm going to attack that city. So the strength of the city is going to be based on the roll of 1 die since I have no scouts there. I will roll, I will get a 3. 3 plus 3 is 6. So I will spend 3 there, 3 more right there, and now we've successfully conquered that city without doing any cheating or anything that's not completely legal. So my first action was recruiting, second action was building a road, third action was attacking the city. I still have 1 action left over. I have... see, 6 guys I need to pay for. That does leave me a little bit of money left over. I think with my final action, I am simply going to move. Actually, let's see here. Can't recruit. Yeah, with my final action, I'm going to move here. That is going to end the red player's turn right there, and they are going to figure out how they can get all the way over to Parthia, which is what they need to do next to work on their next mandate card. So that's part of the strategy, is also watching what they're doing over here. And remembering also they wanted to go for the 7 road, because they had 1, 2, 3, 4... 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we can do it. We can get that going pretty darn easily. So we know what the eventual actions are for the red player on their future turns. That's it for the red player. Now we get to go to the yellow player. So the yellow player has a wonderful deception card, but we cannot use it this turn because of that fortune that is in play. So we are simply going to, as our first action, send 2 scouts over here. Our second action is we are going to move to the city. Our third action is we are going to attack that city. So since we have 2 scouts there, we get to roll 2 extra dice to figure out the strength of the city, and we will happily take that 1. So the total strength of that city is going to be 4. Now remember, we spent 3 actions, 1 to move, 1 to scout, 2 to move, 3 to attack. So we spent 3 of our 4 actions. This has a 4 strength. So here's 2 of the 4 strength. Here's the other 2 of the 4 strength right there. For a total of 4, this city is conquered. We have 1 action left over. We are going to build a road, which cost us 2 dinar, 2 workers, and 2 stone. And we will build a road, and we will happily move on that road, and we will go right over there, and that's a great round for the yellow player. Their turn is over. What does the ability do? Oh, recruit for free. Not going to worry about that. I don't want to recruit yet. So the only thing we need to do, sorry to backtrack for the red player over here. I forgot to pay for the resources. Again, I'm trying to go too fast. So I need to pay $8. So we have 5, 6, 7, and 8. That was to pay for all of their resources at the end of their turn. Yellow player is going to be 2, 3, plus 4 is 7, 8, 9. There's that. We'll get 1 back. That is the end of the yellow player's turn. Let's go over to the blue player who is trying to conquer Arabia. And we need to remember that we have to spend, oh well, we have plenty of money. I'm not too worried about it. So the first thing we are going to do is we are going to recruit our last 2 guys because we have the ability to make a lot of money and we're not worried about it. So our first action. Our second action is to build a road. It's going to cost 2 dinar, 2 workers, and 2 stone. 6, 7, and $8 right there. We will build a road as our second action and move in. Our third action is going to be to attack that city, which will cost us 3 workers. What is his ability again? Scouting is a free action, okay? So that's our third action, is to attack there. We will take over that city. We will gain 1 point of influence right there, and we have 1 action left over. Let's see, we recruited, we built a road. The third one was to attack. We have to make this city hostile right there, or at least an alert status. We have 1 action left over. We could do a lot of things right here and have a couple different options. I think what we're going to do is, let's see, we got plenty of money. Everything's looking really good for us. I think what we're going to do is we are just simply going to build a road, which will be right there. It costs us 3 dinar. It costs us 3 stone to build that road. And then we are going to use our free scouting action. And, oh, I don't have any guys left to scout, so it doesn't really matter. So we're not going to worry about it. That is going to be it for the blue player. We have to spend 2, 3, plus 5 more is 8, plus 2 more is 10. Oh, gee, not a problem for us because we are Mr. Moneybags. That's it for the blue player's turn. And now we get to go to the purple player who gets to take the last turn of this round. So the purple player, I wonder if I forgot to pay for them last round too. Did I forget to pay for them last round? I don't think I did. No, I think I paid for them. I do believe I paid for them and did that correctly. If not, leave a comment down below and correct me. Again, it's kind of hard to play 4 teams and play very efficiently and show you a good variety of gameplay. So we have 5 workers and we have 4 actions, and we need to have lots of influence. And we are trying to get this mandate over here. Let's see here. If we do this just right, see, hopefully we're trying to play smart by getting this over here. Our strategy is to get this over here. It's thinking smart, thinking smart. We have to play smart. What can we do to play smart here? Well, we got to make the right decision. Do we go for the roads or do we go for the conquests? Well, there's some really good decisions going on, and we need to do this really, really extremely well and not make any mistakes here. So I think what we will do is we are going to 1 action. No, actually, before we do that, we're going to scout. Actually, no, we should recruit. I think what we're going to do is recruit. So we're going to recruit action. Our first action is to recruit, and that'll give us all of our legions. Our second action is going to be to scout. Third action is going to be to move in, and our fourth action is going to be to attack. So we'll roll 1 dice plus 1 die for our scout. Ooh, a 3 or 4. Well, I'll definitely take the 3. So the total strength is 3 plus 3 is going to be 6. Wow. So I need to discard 5 because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that will conquer that city for the purple player. And since it was aggressive, that'll give us 2 points of influence. And now we're up going towards what we need is 10 influence. We just need to recruit that 1 guy, which I do believe is not up. No, he is not up yet. So we do need to do that. But that's the end of our turn. Now we need to spend 8, 9, 10 for all of the units that we have out on the board. And that's it. If we had any cards in the discard pile, we would shuffle that back in, but that's the end of the 4th round. And that's, I think, is going to be the end of the sample gameplay. I think you've seen enough sample gameplay of the game to understand just how the game works. The game has a nice, very slow build up to it. Like I said in the beginning of the game, the players are going to start eking out their little locations, but as the nice, good resources and the board starts expanding, the players are going to start changing their strategies based on fortune cards that come out, based on deception cards that come out, based on Basilica that comes out, and based on different things and the way you can influence, interact, and work towards getting all the mandates. Right now, as things stands, we see that I think it looks like the purple player is actually the one who is, the purple player happens to be in the lead with 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 victory points. Yellow is standing at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 victory points right now. The red player is standing at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 victory points. The blue player is currently standing at, let's see, we have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So they're actually in 2nd place. So we see the scores are still very, very close. And that's one thing about this game, and I'll talk about this in my review, the scores do stay very, very close. It's very common for the scores to be within just a couple points of each other. But anyways, I'm going to bring this video to a close. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this video series. If you have any comments or questions, make sure you leave them down in the YouTube comments down below. I will definitely answer them as quickly as I can. You can also feel free to email me at offtheshelfboardgamereviews. That's otsbgr@gmail.com. I'll be sure to answer your email as quickly as I can. If you enjoyed this video, series, click that like button, click that subscribe button. As always, thanks for watching.